Welcome everyone. This is Yvonne Davis and David Steele. We're accredited facilitators with the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication Network. And you're joining us for Unleash Your Creativity, a blending of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron and Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. So right now we are in week 7 and we are exploring risk today. This is the chapter on recovering a sense of connection, and one of the topics that Julia Cameron brings up is risk. So, did you have something to say about risk?
Well, risk and connection are intertwined, because anytime we put ourselves out there and exhibit authenticity, we're taking a risk because we don't know how it'll be received. But if we don't put ourselves out there and exhibit authenticity, then we are isolated and lonely. So managing risk, finding the courage or the energy to move through the fear that comes up when we take risk is an essential skill for building connection.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Not yet.
Okay. What about other kinds of risks? You know, like what we were talking about earlier this evening.
Well, it's your turn to talk about that. I'm sorry. It's your turn to talk about that, and then I'll chime in.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about other kinds of risks. Now, certainly being vulnerable is risky. But I was thinking about other kinds of risks, like, for example, when you take on a lot of commitments, because maybe you have strong feelings about them, maybe you're really passionate, and yet at the same time, that can be risky because you might stretch yourself too thin. And so, you know, I noticed, I don't know if I've always been this way, but certainly in recent months, probably since, I don't know, September, can't really remember when the shift occurred, but I know I started school on August 22nd. It coincided with the eclipse, by the way. And that was the fall semester of my MFA. So, and for those of you who don't know, I'm working on a master's degree in creative writing. So that started on August 22nd in conjunction with the eclipse. And then I spent the weekend of September, it was 8th, 9th, and 10th, at a writers conference, the Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers Conference, both as an attendee and as a volunteer. And then I had to find a place to live, so I was apartment hunting, and I found an apartment. And I needed to get a job, so I went out job hunting and I got a job. And then, so I had an apartment and a job, and I was working on a master's degree. And that was pretty intense. And then one of the jobs, well, the job that I had didn't work out. So then I had to go get another job. So I actually got 2 jobs. Since the holiday season was coming up, I just ran out and quickly got 2 retail seasonal jobs. And then I was working 2 like 8-hour double shifts. And I felt like Wonder Woman, because I would get done with one job and I would run into the parking lot. It was a covered parking lot at the mall. And I would get into my car and I would change clothes in my car really fast. Then I would drive to the other job and run out and go to that job for 8 hours. So I felt like Wonder Woman. But it was pretty crazy. I thought I was going to collapse from exhaustion. So I finally quit one of those jobs, but it was still pretty intense. And so even now, I have a job that's much more conducive to the work that I'm doing. It's not quite as physically demanding or as demanding on my time, and also pays more. That's nice. But my time is still just like, I have so many obligations. I have the master's degree. I'm doing these Artist's Way videos every day. I teach nonviolent communication. So I have workshops. Well, I'm either in workshops or in practice groups. Monday night, it was going to be in an NVC online conference this Tuesday night, but I said, no, I can't, because I was just about to collapse because I had so many things on my plate. I had to take a break from it. So even just a few, just to have those 2 hours, not like all compressed together, just was essential to survival at this point. So, but I do teach a workshop, an NVC workshop on Wednesday nights, and then I do my Artist's Way conference on Thursday night, and then one Saturday a month I try to go to another NVC workshop. So that's pretty intense. Plus, I'm working a full-time temporary position in a law firm right now in DTC. And I am trying to build my YouTube channel. So the time just gets so compressed, and it's like I feel like I'm a juggler, and it feels risky because I get scared, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if one of those balls doesn't stay in the air? I don't know. So, and I keep the money pretty close to the edge too, because I am trying to do work that I'm passionate about. So it costs money, obviously, to live. It costs money. Going to school costs money. And I try to do all the special workshops that come to town through the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication Network, like the Sarah Payton workshop coming up. That costs money. And I forgot all my volunteer work that I do for Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication Network. And just really trying to do all this work that comes from my heart and doesn't necessarily have the cha-ching with it. So I have to have a full-time job for that. So I keep it pretty close to the wire. And so, I was driving over here to Dave's house after I left the law firm at DTC. I drove over to Dave's house so we could do this Artist's Way video, which I'm very passionate about. And my gas tank registers, the light came on that said, it's running out of gas, low on gas. So I'm thinking, well, I don't have any money in my bank account. And fortunately, there will be some tomorrow morning that my pay gets direct deposited. But what am I supposed to do tonight? So, just living that way feels pretty risky, but I just don't know any other way to live, because there's so many things I'm passionate about. There's just nothing that I could say, I can't do this because I'm too passionate about it, So I live a risky life.
I'm exhausted just listening to all of that.
I know, I'm exhausted just telling people about it. Wow.
So it's the same risk as risk in a relationship. And most people place a very high priority on financial security and on predictability. So people who have learned to live without a steady paycheck have learned how to live with financial risk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a phrase that gets bandied a lot about. If you watch business programs and stuff, they talk about risk. And it's real, and it's part of life. And so you're talking about how it moves into the finances. But I'm hearing that there is a passion in you that burns so brightly that you would rather undertake that risk than lead a financially secure existence that's all regimented, where you show up at the same time every day doing the same thing year in and year out. And yes, you have financial security, but in your case, what I'm hearing is there's kind of a deadening of the soul, a deadening of the being. Is life really worth living if this is all there is to it? And so you go out and do things like study the artist's way. And I think your story is not uncommon. I think there are many people who have been in jobs that they feel deadening and are looking for the courage, looking for the way to take risk. And so to bring it into connection, I started out by talking about risk, which in a way that's talking about connection to other people. But right now you're talking about connection to your passion.
Yes.
And trusting that passion and being vulnerable, like, God, this is what I really care about. If this doesn't work out, that's a lot scarier than if I just have a job I don't like. Because it's your passion. It's what you care about. It's what your life is for.
But, you know, you get to a place where you almost, well, I would say almost, but like literally don't have a choice. I mean, that's the place I was at before I left my high-paying job as an intellectual paralegal with one of the top nationwide law firms, because for me, it was like, it really came down to life or death. I mean, I remember one day, this was when I came back from a vacation. I think that for a week of being authentically me, and then coming back into an environment that felt like putting on a straitjacket, I just broke down crying, and I could not stop crying. I cried all the way to work. I cried at my desk. When it was my lunch break, I went out to my car and sat in my car and cried. Then when I came back, I still couldn't stop crying. I'd go into the bathroom and try to hide in the stall because I couldn't stop crying. I'd go into the break room and I was just trying. I didn't want people to see me crying all day, but I couldn't find, like, where am I going to hide? You know, I'm supposed to be sitting at my desk working. And here I was trying to find places to hide so I could just cry because I couldn't stop. And so, you know, for me, it was like I really literally did not have a choice. I could not stay. And I would have died. I think I really would have died.
Beware all ye who are devoted to connecting with your passion and invoking archetypes to assist you in your work and cleaving to authenticity and integrity, for you too will find yourself in a position where your calling demands total commitment, whatever that is. And it's not necessarily Yvonne's form of total commitment, but it will demand total commitment. And at the same time, you will feel never before so free and alive as you feel when you listen to that commitment and follow it. And then it becomes very scary. It feels like huge risk, because often our mind can't plot the path. Joseph Campbell said that when you follow your bliss, doors will open for you where you wouldn't think there would be a door, and where there would not be a door for anyone else. Because there's something about that passion, and this is a deeper way of looking at manifestation teachings and affirmations. That passion that if it's truly connected in your life energy, in the essence of your being, it will find a way to open a path for you. And the question is, can you really trust it? Can you find enough faith within yourself to commit to that path and go where it leads? And some of you, yes, some of you, no. You know, some of me, yes, some of me, no. But that's where this leads, and it ends up in a land of abundance, in a land of connected fulfillment, and all the stuff that Julie's book talks about. But it's not just an intellectual exercise. It's a labor of love. It's a getting up every day and living that commitment to be true to yourself, and then looking at difficulties or challenges that commitment evokes and navigating them, and also being open to the wonder, the mystery that fulfillment brings when ways open that we don't necessarily foresee. So does that sound like a good stopping point? Do you want to add anything?
No, I think that feels like a good place to bring this to a close. And this has been a really powerful week for me, so I hope it has for you too. And I think this is also a good transitioning point, because other than my end of week check-in, we will be moving on to week 8, which is recovering a sense of strength. So I think this is a perfect time to close out our lessons for week 7. And we will be back for the first day of week 8 and recovering a sense of strength next time David and I see you. So I want to thank you again for subscribing. It's just so exciting to see people enjoying this work, and for clicking like on the video, for ringing the bell for notifications, sharing with your social media and your friends and family, and for all your comments that you put in the comment boxes below. And we will look forward to seeing you next time.
See you in week 8!